All right, I've got a crazy story for you. Look at this, guys. This is the AC belt to our R33 GTR. And it smells because it caught on fire. And it was very dramatic. So we're going to talk about it. So I put the R33 GTR for sale, and this guy flew in from Washington, D.C. I picked him up. I drove the car, we went to a park and he looked at the car, and then he drove the car, and then we went to go get something to eat, and we were headed back, and all of a sudden the car shut off. And I was like, okay, that's never happened before. And I turned it back on, and I decided to leave the AC off because when the car shut off, like, I hit the defrost button. I don't know if it was related, the timing or whatever, but it was weird. So we were driving home, and I was telling the guy, like, that's never happened before. And but while we were driving, we smelled like burnt plastic inside the car. We were like tripping out. We're like, where is that coming from? So I told him that once we get into my neighborhood, I'm gonna go ahead and click on defrost again and see if it does anything. So about a block from my house, I hit defrost, and it smelled really bad inside the car. So I turned it off, and then we parked. And when we parked and got out of the car, the guy who's wanting to buy the car, he said, there is smoke coming out of the engine bay. So I look, and there's literally smoke coming out of the engine bay. I pop the hood, open the hood up, and white smoke is just coming out like crazy. And it smells like bad. So I'm not trying to plug anything, but I made a video about this. I grabbed this, and I just started spraying wherever the smoke was coming from. And the crazy thing is that more smoke was starting to like spew out. So it was getting pretty dramatic. And I was trying to look around, and it started raining. And I just look at him, and I'm like, this is when this would happen. So I was wondering if this was enough. So I hooked up my hose, my garden hose, and I just started spraying the area. And of course, more smoke was coming out. And I was just like, by this time, whatever needs to happen, I think already stopped, or we did it or whatever. So we just kind of let the car cool down. And then I opened up the hood, and I saw this. So fast forward today, I did some research. I went ahead and looked, and the compressor, the pulley on it, seized up. But I don't know what was the cause or if there was an effect. So the reason why this caught on fire, or was pretty much on fire, is because this got stuck somewhere, and it was just kind of rubbing. And I'm thinking that the compressor seized up, so the crankshaft was spinning this, and it was just kind of like a friction effect, and it was just getting hotter and hotter and hotter until it just went boop. So that's one thing I'm thinking that happened. The second thing that I'm thinking that happened is maybe this jumped over a tooth, and it started to rub, and then as it rubbed, it started to kind of melt, and then it just broke apart. The thing about it is I went and I tried turning the compressor, and it's not turning. So yeah, that's not a good. So that happened, and of course the guy was like, while we were getting our food, before we started headed back and all of this happened, he was like, I'm in love with the car, it's mine, we'll talk about the details while we're eating. And of course he sent me a message, and he's like, I'm good. So I'm like, gosh darn it. So I've got to fix that compressor or sell it as is. To be honest with you, the right thing to do is fix it, but I have to find a part and stuff like that and do that. But there's a guy who's interested in it, but I'm not quite sure. I am going to just list it the way it is and see if somebody wants to get a discount and go from there. But this was way beyond dramatic, and it happened in the worst time. And the crazy thing is the engine bay still smells a little bit like burnt rubber, which is quite a distinct smell. But luckily I had this. Luckily it happened at home, and luckily the car didn't catch on fire. Today I drove the car, I washed it, and I put like 50 miles on it or something like that just to make sure. And what's weird though, and this is not like a butt dyno or in my imagination, like I 100% feel like the engine is just happier without this the drag on the AC system. Isn't that crazy? You could just tell that difference on it. But of course, we all want AC. I want AC. I'm not trying to be 17 years old and AC delete. But that is interesting how much of a drag effect AC has on a car. Well, guys, I thought I'd tell you guys that story. And yeah, it was overly dramatic. But stuff happens. All right, guys, thanks for watching. You take care. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.